Hello everybody, welcome to part 3 of the FireFall tutorial series. Today we'll be dealing with something that's very dear to my heart, PvP. Now I'll give the usual introduction, but before we do that, we're going to hop right in and actually queue for PvP. So the way you can do that is you can either hit the K button, which I just did, or you can open the navigation wheel, hit player versus player, and then queue. Now I'm going to explain this more later, but I'm skipping to this right away because often it can take a long time to get to a PvP game. And this really shouldn't be that long of a video because PvP is most self-explanatory, so that would be doing us a disservice. Anyway, to go over the long introduction, I'm TheSambasti. I'm here for Limelight Esports, giving you part 3 of the 4-part tutorial FireFall tutorial series. Part 1 is general FireFall information, part 2 is player versus environment, and part 4 is going to be player progression, so crafting and tech tree. I am the person who runs FireFall Limelight Esports, but I also have a personal YouTube channel where I do casting, gameplay, stuff like that. So if you do want to check that out, check out my personal YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description because we had a discussion already last video about how difficult it is to actually remember my name for YouTube because I screwed up the spelling. Anyway, besides that, there's not much else to talk about, so let's get into FireFall PvP. So the long version of this actual queue selection screen. You have 4 Team Deathmatch maps, 1 Sabotage, and 1 Harvester map. Most of your matches are going to be Team Deathmatch because it is difficult to get enough people to queue for Sabotage or Harvester. If you queue for all 3, the matchmaker will autofill the first match that's available, and most people do queue for all 3 because they want the 15% XP multi-queue bonus. And Team Deathmatch only needs 10 people, whereas Sabotage needs 15 per team. Needs 30 overall, and no, sorry, I'm screwing up the numbers here. Sabotage needs 20 people, 10 per team, and Harvester needs 30 people, 15 per team. See, we play these modes so often here, and so little here in beta that I don't even remember the player numbers correctly anymore. Anyway, so if you do want to play Sabotage or Harvester, you'll have to actually organize a game and get people together, or join an organized game. So this tutorial is mostly going to cover Team Deathmatch. There are 4 maps for Team Deathmatch. All of them are fairly normal Team Deathmatch maps. Both teams have opposite spawns, and you just go and shoot each other. The first team to get 25 executes, not kills, executes wins. You don't actually have to execute the players because they'll bleed out automatically, but if they do get revived, you don't get a point. So revive your teammates and execute your opponents to prevent the revives. Reviving doesn't happen all too much in Tier 1 PvP, but in Tier 2 PvP you can basically assume that unless you execute them or kill them, like really kill them, they're going to get revived, and you're not going to get a point. So keep that in mind. As you can see, we are still waiting for a PvP match to actually start. So, other PvP stuff. Sabotage is like capture points, attack and defend. It's a race against the clock, so if you manage to get all 3 points in 7 minutes, then when you defend, the opponents have to do the same or faster, or you win. A Harvester is point control. So 3 points, you get points or lose points depending on how many points you control. And the first one to reach their goal in points wins. For Team Deathmatch, I guess we'll go over map-specific stuff. When I said most maps have opposite spawns, it is worth noting that there is the exception, and that's Moisture Farm. Moisture Farm has random spawning. So in Moisture Farm, you will spawn at any point. You might spawn behind an enemy player. You might spawn in front of an enemy player. But what you won't spawn with is your team. So keep that in mind. You're much more on your own. It's a lot more hectic. For organized play, for like competitive PvP, this can be really difficult because a group of 5 will roll a group of 4 and then a group of 1. So the first person to actually get a wipe or get kills is actually really important there. But this isn't organized PvP, this is just normal PvP, so really just shoot the other player and have fun. For general PvP roles and PvP strategy, let's talk about that. So as an assault, since this is the class I'm going to show you, that's what I'm going to talk about first. You're really fast, you do a lot of damage, but you're also fairly fragile. In Tier 1, you will be able to like get in the face of dreadnoughts and stuff just by orbiting them, like with your jump stats. Like I'm orbiting this guy right here. Like if he was a dreadnought, I could probably kill him right now just by orbiting around him, and then he couldn't hit me. In Tier 2, people have better aim, so be aware of that. You probably will have to change your strategy from Tier 1 to Tier 2. What assaults are really good at actually is killing recons. If you're running Shockwave, which I really recommend you do, my standard layout is Afterburner and Shockwave, because Afterburner gives you assault the mobility it needs, and Shockwave deals damage. If you're running Shockwave, you can actually two-shot a recon. And when I say two-shot, I mean one-shot, because you use your Shockwave and then your gun. And if you hit the Shockwave at just the right range, you deal above 1,000 damage, and this kills the enemy recon. For other classes, if you are a recon, you are a sniper. That's fairly self-explanatory. But more significantly, in like FireFall, you have map control. So if I take my recon and I get up here, and this were a PvP map, and it sort of is like one. This is a lot like Sunken Harbor. Everything that floats above here, I can kill. So if there was a player up here, bam, I could just shoot them. So recon, you really have to have area control. Now, of course, if there's another recon, like if this rock, which looks a lot like a person, were a recon, then we have to battle it out for control, because whichever recon wins controls the top of the map and controls the game. If you do kill the other recon and you know there's not another recon, I really suggest you get on a high perch as possible, because for the next 10 seconds you can kill whoever you want. Other than that, recons are surprisingly powerful at close range, especially with the shotgun. Shotgun is actually really good. Never be scared to use your secondary weapon in FireFall. When you're like Assault or Dreadnought, generally your primary is a lot like your secondary, and your primary is better. With Recon, you can deal surprisingly large amounts of damage at close range. The only disadvantage you have is that you have really low health. And we are actually going to get into a match now, so I'm going to accept the match. We're going to go back to Assault. I'll cover the other potential classes while we're loading. For Dreadnought, you're really the damage dealer. You have a lot of HP, you have abilities that will mitigate damage. And if your team pushes, you want to be at the front. You'll want heals from your biotech. Hopefully you'll have a biotech, because otherwise you aren't invincible. But if you've watched our Battleframe showcases, your minigun deals more damage the closer you get, so get as close as you can and deal that damage. For biotech, you're sort of the healer, but you can also deal large amounts of damage, so don't be afraid to get into fights. But do heal up your teammates. Try to top off people with Bio Ball, because there's a really short cooldown, and heal whenever you can, because teams that have HP win. So like especially in competitive, like the team that has more HP after a fight that has 2 biotechs, generally competitive teams run 2 biotechs for this reason, and can top off, goes into the next fight with full health and wins the next fight. And then for engineer, you have a lot of area control thanks to your turrets. Take advantage of that. But you also have quite a bit of damage with the Tesla rifle. Be careful because, or the Tesla rifle. Be careful because you'll have to get in close to use it properly. So we're in the warm-up period right now, which means we're just going to shoot everybody and anything and not really worry about our own life. The warm-up period is really to just warm up your aim. I always play PvP in first-person mode because I can't really aim otherwise. So, unlike with most of my other tutorials and the rest, I'm actually going to switch to first-person for this. So, while we're waiting for players here, this is what Sunken Harbor looks like. Now, the first thing you want to take note of when you play any PvP maps is we're going to have map guides separately, and you'll learn this on your own, but always try to know where the health packs are. Especially in a class like Assault, which is really going in alone and going in high mobility, you'll want to go into any fight at full health. In player versus environment, you can afford to be low health when you go into a fight because you can just dodge all the damage. Players aim a lot better than computers do. So, you don't want to go into a fight unless you're at full HP. Now, the other thing that's unique to PvP and to TDM specifically, actually it's not unique to TDM, but the other thing that's unique to PvP is the double damage. And the double damage is a bit deceptive. And I didn't learn this until way after I should have actually learned it. And the deceptive part is that the double damage seems like it's only a good thing, right? You get double damage. You also take 1.5 times damage. So when I was still learning how to play, and I was still new, and this happened until maybe a few weeks ago, I would get the double damage and I'd run in, like, go, double damage, I'm going to kill everything. No, you will die very fast with double damage. Especially because the glowing red from the double damage will make you a target. So when you have double damage, actually play a bit more defensively, because you'll need it to survive. And with that in mind, you can easily pick off people with double damage. If it's a 1v1, feel free to go in with double damage and go full in. But like what a lot of people do, and what I used to do, is just go in against an entire team So, just because I had the double damage. Since we're still in the warm-up, I'm going to show the engineers briefly. Just because the engineer has a very unique role in FireFall PvP. So you are a very normal class. Like, as you can see, I can actually kill this guy right now. But you can also put up turrets. So there he is. You can also put up turrets. Now you can put up multiple turrets at once, but they'll each recharge individually. So now I have about a minute and a half before I can do this full turret salvo again. Now the advantage of this is, as you can see, I can deal large amounts of damage while I'm near those turrets. You gotta be careful because once those turrets are down, you become a lot more fragile. For example, the rifle I was just using, you get really close to use. And since my aim with it isn't that good, I'm more of a bursty aim type person, it becomes extremely ineffective. So most likely when you're playing an engineer, you're going to have to play a bit more cautiously, play a bit more back. And again, you can use your turrets to set up amazing traps. So try that as much as possible. So as you can see, my turrets are dealing a lot of damage now. But unlike Assault, I don't really have a follow-up to this. So like with an Assault, I could have afterburned now and tried to kill him. But as it was, I was in the middle of the enemy team and there wasn't too much I could do. As you've probably noticed, I am not the best engineer. I know there are some people who could do that a lot better. Anyway, so I think that sort of gives a picture of what the engineer is like. For Dreadnought, you gotta get in close and personal. Dealing a lot of damage right now. Now it's Thunderdome with this Assault inside with me. Alas, it's not enough because we are now fighting 5-3. So this instance seems to have actually glitched out. There actually isn't much more to show in this video besides actual PvP gameplay. Never mind, we have 5 people, so I'm just going to show you what a game actually looks like very briefly. I'm probably going to cut this halfway through the actual game, because this has already gotten way too long thanks to that glitched instance. That was really unfortunate. But we talked about a lot of things, so that's good. And never mind, we're back in Copacabana. So in that case, I'm going to actually cut this here, and I will upload a separate PvP explained gameplay-ish video, and I'll label that like part 3.1 or something. It's unfortunate that this didn't work out, but I hope it was informative. So I'll see you guys for part 3.1 PvP gameplay, and then I'll see you for part 4. So remember to like and subscribe if you actually liked it and actually want to subscribe. I'm not going to demand that, but I'll see you guys later.